What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today.
Browsing social media, I came across a post. I think it was Basketball Network. I think that's what it's called. And there was a quote by Michael Jordan. Now, I don't recall ever hearing this particular quote before, but it's something that I've sounded off on and about Michael Jordan and other players as well, cut from his kind of cloth, the Birds, the Magics, the Kobes, that I've said about them as well. And I don't know when this quote was taken. I don't know when Mike said this, but check it out. That never drove me. Good things happen to the people that work hard. If I played for the stats, I would have never retired in '93, or I'd still be chasing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring lead. I mean, that doesn't drive me. And he's absolutely right. Stats never drove Michael Jordan. They didn't. He could give a damn about the numbers. He wanted the victories. He wanted the sweet taste of victories. He wanted the W's. He wanted more numbers in that left column that says record. That's what Michael Jordan wanted. That's what he cared most about. Now, Michael Jordan detractors will usually say, how can you say that? He scores the ball so much. He scores the ball so much. He scores. Look at all the points. You can't tell me stats didn't drive him. Wait a second. Please. Michael Jordan's scoring output and scoring numbers was merely a product of how he played. Michael Jordan, his best attribute, his best quality on the basketball floor, his strongest skill, his most dominant skill was scoring the basketball. He wasn't doing it for the numbers. It was a product of how he played. Now, because he was an elite scorer, did it at an elite level, demoralized teams with his scoring, that does not take away from Michael Jordan as an all-around basketball player. See, that's when I start to have a problem, when people that really detract from Michael Jordan, none more than the Bron Goblins and Clutch Client affiliates, none more than them like to do this. Michael Jordan was a scorer. Michael Jordan could do nothing but, what? No. He did that well, and arguably the greatest to ever do that. But that doesn't take away from him as an overall basketball player just because he did that at a very, very, very high level. That's what you guys just want to remember. That's what you're necessarily enamored with more than anything. And you decide to turn a blind eye to everything else great that Michael Jordan could do. Michael Jordan was a damn good playmaker. Michael Jordan was a damn good passer. Michael Jordan was an amazing elite defensive player. Michael Jordan was an all-around basketball player who so happens to have scoring as his most elite trait. Just like Magic Johnson was a good all-around basketball player whose strongest trait was passing the basketball. Larry Bird was a all-around basketball player whose strongest trait was, well, Larry Bird is probably the most balanced out of all of them. I can honestly say that. You know, Kobe Bryant, believe it or not, didn't play for statistics. Scoring was a product of how he played and was an all-around basketball player. But scoring was his strongest trait. Now, was Kobe Bryant as good as an all-around basketball player as Mike? Absolutely not. He wasn't. And I'm a Kobe Bryant guy. I'll be the first to tell you. Michael Jordan, it wasn't even like Mike was this guy just hoisting up a lot of shots and the shots not going in. This guy was extremely accurate and extremely efficient from all areas of the floor. He was. Obviously not so much from three-point land, inside the three-point line on down to the basket. He was money. Money. And he did have some seasons where he shot good from three-point line. But as we all know, the three-point shot wasn't emphasized back in his era. It wasn't weaponized. Numbers didn't drive Mike, man. Stop it. Stop it. And he's damn right. If he was one of these guys, like so many players are today, especially one guy whom I will not name right now, he would have stayed. He wouldn't have retired. He would have stayed because he's like, I'm trying to get these stats. I'm trying to chase Kareem. I'm trying to get these total numbers and these other, categories. This, that, and the third. He didn't give a damn about that. It's not how he was wired. That's not why you play the game of basketball. You shouldn't play the game of basketball for those reasons. You want to talk about selfish and selfishness. A guy that's playing every game solely for numbers and statistics. That's a selfish guy. He may have 15 assists, and you're trying to tell me he's unselfish because he's averaging 10 assists. But he's doing it for what? Not making his teammates better. Passing somebody a ball on a three-point line and the shot going in doesn't necessarily make your teammates better. Not necessarily. And you're only doing it for the numbers. It doesn't get any more selfish than that. What are you talking about? If stats drove Mike, we wouldn't have got the same Mike that we saw play his career in Chicago. The outcomes probably wouldn't have been the same. Wouldn't have felt right. It wouldn't have. The fact that Michael Jordan's stats, since we're talking about stats, his stats are as amazing as they are, given eventually transitioning into the triangle, which takes more responsibility off him as far as how much he has to carry. So that's going to affect your numbers. The ball isn't in his hand as much, but he'll be put in positions to get the ball in sweet spots and catch it in positions where he can go to work quickly. And the team can run different actions and options around him inside that triangle. That takes away from numbers. The retirements, the times, the years missed, all empty. No stats, obviously. All that. Even the whole season he missed. Almost whole season. With the broken foot. I mean, there's a lot of things you can look at, and it's like, his numbers could have been even greater than what they were. But they weren't, because that's not how the universe works, and it didn't happen that way. And he still managed to have a phenomenal career, man. Michael Jordan, when you look at his numbers, even though the totals are pretty damn amazing, the totals don't do it justice. It's the averages. It's the averages. Because he didn't play a 20-year career. Right? It's the averages is where the truth lies. But more important than averages and total numbers is winning. And Michael Jordan did a lot of winning. Early on in his career, he had to go through a lot of losing. He was doing some winning, but at the highest level, he had to go through some losing. In those playoffs, he absolutely did. But eventually, you grow, you age, you mature. The team gets built around you, and, good things will eventually come. Like Mike said. Like he said. Good things will eventually come to players that work hard. And this is the truth. Nothing but the truth. Nowadays, I just see so many players playing for numbers. And now we live in this time, we live in this era where players are being evaluated and rated and, judged on their statistics, their numbers. So now players are seeing that. players that might not necessarily have been driven by numbers, they're seeing that and they're like, oh, well, all they're looking at is numbers and statistics, and that's where they're putting me in the value. It's like, all right, well, I got to go out and get my numbers now, because now we live in an era of analytics, and that's how they're going to look at me. And now you got players out here trying to rack up their boards, trying to get their numbers, because that'll give them a big contract somewhere. Somebody throw them the money because they got the numbers. They'll get the contract, and they'll get the love and adoration, because now we live in a world of analytics. And yet, you try to tell me that these guys who are so hell-bent on these numbers but are still falling short of many of the greats of the past that didn't care about these numbers, and their numbers still aren't as good as a lot of those greats. And they didn't give a damn about them. And the opportunities weren't as easy back then. Get out of here. I'm done with this. Let me know what you think about it. Go check out our Michael Jordan playlist. Appreciate y'all for stepping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that damn bell, stay notified, and I catch you on the next one. We out, baby.